And we're live. Welcome to Open Breakfast Bar, Fantasy Baseball, Breakfast with Ben. I thought that was a cute name. Mimosa Brothers today. Mimosa Mates. Bacon Buddies. Like Bacon Buddies.
Okay.
Is it Breakfast with Ben? I like that one the most, I think.
Yeah, that's the best one.
Breakfast with Ben. Okay, this will be the Breakfast with Ben edition. We're a little puffy-eyed. We're a little bit struggling, but we're going to get through this together and have a good time. We're here with Dave Swan Davithius. I like your Twitter handle. I like that very much. Thanks. Staff writer for Roto Baller and Roto Fanatic and a Chicago guy. So I already like you more than I like Ben.
Nice.
How you doing today, man?
Good. Glad to be with you guys. Just waking up and starting the day, having a good time so far.
Yeah. So listen, how long you been with Roto Baller?
So Roto Baller, I do a little bit of the tweets on there. I do some just MLB writing. Right, it's been a little bit harder so far for us to start, but every day I go on and just try and give a few tweets of players, guys maybe trending the right way, pitchers, something that they've done. I do a lot of like individual pitch analysis, so you can kind of get an idea of a pitcher and why he could be, as dynamic as he is.
Okay, that's cool. We know Roto Fanatic is what, a week old, 2 weeks old?
It's been something a little bit in the works. A lot of us all kind of came together from the SP Streamer site and Bases Loaded and just wanted to put something a little bit different and unique out there for the fantasy community, kind of more of like a help learning from this and that. And it's been a lot of fun so far. A lot of really great guys. We just did our first mock yesterday, which was, a ton of fun. Some good people just trying to get together and give people some good fantasy baseball information.
We didn't actually make the cut. I don't know if you know this. We didn't make the cut for Roto Fanatic. Mike Curlin fired us. And I'm not butthurt about it at all.
At any given moment, we could all get cut from there. I don't know. To be honest, I haven't put anything out yet. My first article comes out June 5th, I think is when it's all said. We're just kind of spacing things out for now.
Right. Yeah. So that's head up by Matt Williams and Curlin, and there's a long list. It really is a great list of guys on that site. That's very exciting. I realize that we provide little to the fantasy baseball community. We're not writers, and so yeah.
It's a little different though. The reason I got to really liking your guys' pod was it was very lighthearted style of baseball, right? Like I listened to like 15 podcasts, baseball, hardcore, really grinding it. And then it's nice to kind of put one out there that's just like guys just talking, having a good time with it. Right. Do I agree with everything they say? No, but it's at least like, it's entertaining, like I was listening to your last one yesterday, and mowing the lawn again. I'm like, oh yeah, I don't agree with this or that, but I like the, at least they're giving me something to think about, and it's a good time.
Right. Thank you. That's exactly why we got started. We didn't want to be that drab, just repeated analytial, just pylon. We wanted to have a good time. We felt like there was some way that we could interject some kind of enthusiasm to it. And I have an Apple Pod review later that I'd like to read that touches on that as well. Like I was blown away by this review, but we'll get to that later. Ben, how's your weekend, man? You look a little red.
Who, me?
Ben, yes, Ben.
I didn't hear that part. Okay. Yeah, dude, I'm really red, and I feel like a giant solar panel with this 5 head I got going on the forehead. But I appreciate Dave's take on that with the entertainment value. I hope that's kind of that was your thesis for this whole thing, really, to Tony's credit. And I'm like, yeah, I can get on board with that. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, as you probably figured out already. So I hope it's entertaining with some with some value to the fantasy baseball community, and we just had fun with it. So, and it's really cool meetings. And I was like a deer in headlights when I was on Fantasy Palooza. With some pretty heavy hitters on there, which I never really even considered. This has already gone more than what I ever thought it was going to be. So that's really interesting and fun and cool. And Rotoballer, I was using you guys, the Rotoballer website before I was even really getting into like Fangraphs and
sure.
StatCast and all that stuff. You guys have done excellent work for a very long time. Helped me win a league or two. So that is very cool having you on here. So I'm like a deer in headlights again. Only this time I'm really sunburnt.
You're really shiny. You're really shiny.
And hungover.
Shiny, yeah.
And I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Open Bar Ben was open last night, and I'm not recovered. I don't feel very good.
We'll get there, buddy. But thank you, Dave, for being here today. We very much do appreciate you sitting in with us. One of the things I appreciate about you more than any other people on the Twitterverse, you're incredibly kind with all of your tweets. You support so many people and just project this positivity on Twitter, on what we know is just a cesspool of negativity, especially in current days. But you have a way of just supporting everyone, and I very much appreciate that, man. Thank you for that.
No, thanks. You know, like I hate when people call it the industry, because like for someone who's like I like have this thing, I'm like, it's a community, man. Like I want to pump so many people's stuff out, large and big. Like if it's something that's interesting, I just want to get it out there to everybody. And like I said, learn from it. Like I'm just like you guys and everyone else. We're just trying to make things a little bit, you know, this is just fun. Like any dollar I've actually ever made from it, I've just donated back to something, you know, be it more fan graphs for somebody or like PitchCon. I, you know, deleted, you know, spent out everything I could out there. Just why not? This is just fun for all of us, right? We all have jobs and stuff that we're doing. This is just, you know, a hobby. We're all hobbyists.
Yeah.
Completely agree on that note. You're absolutely right. This is a, you know, husband, dad podcast way down the line here for me and Ben as well, but we just have a good time with it. So you nailed it right on the head there. So let's kind of jump into some baseball and then transition to some fantasy baseball. Are you optimistic about this season actually happening in 2020?
I thought about this question like when I was like, they're going to ask me this because everybody who I talk to knows that I do some baseball stuff asks me about this.
Right.
And it's so hard in front of like even like no people to say that I don't believe there'll be a season. But there are so many hurdles that have to get past for us to say that. I do believe there's a chance. If I was betting lots of money, I would say no.
I'm kind of on the same page. Like, I believe the logistics of this thing can happen, but when it comes down to this thing that we're battling, this literal human thing that we've never seen before, that we're battling, I think it is extremely problematic. I don't know how we can go forward. I'm terrified. It has to happen within like almost a week. We're talking about in this next week, we have to have some kind of answer. Ben, you've always been positive, maybe stubbornly to a point.
Which is a very odd position for me to be in, where I'm the optimist here. I always consider myself the realist, quote unquote, the realist, and I'm having a hard time staying on the optimistic side of things after reading through some of the Twitter. I was off of Twitter all last night, thank God. But it hasn't looked, because I do get, as a Homer fan and the St. Louis fan, I get a lot of my information on that front from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. So they have even turned a little bit negative tone, it seems like. And, you know, I don't know they have to get a straightforward, concrete answer, but you need to have some more positive lingo coming down in the next week. I think like there's progress being made. I think they could still get an 80-game season in, down the road. They've talked about playing through, till Thanksgiving. Maybe something like that happens. I think there's going to be baseball in some form. But yeah, it's a tough, like Dave was saying, I don't know that I'd bet the farm on it at this point.
Yeah, no, it's right there. Like I think we're all optimistic. I think there's so much money in it, and the virus, from what I know, which is very little, would affect like less than 1% of players, right? They're all big athletes and not in the demographic age. So it would be very, easy for me to say they should play, but something needs to happen very soon, right? Just put the two of them in a room for a week and figure it out.
Yeah, right. Have them, put them in a very, very small room with boxing gloves and see what happens. After you have a knockdown, drag out brawl, everybody's friends afterwards. It's like you're hugging each other and there's pats in the backs. I think they'll have some form of that.
I can't wait to smash that nose of yours. I'd love to get in a room with boxing gloves.
Well, I've been punched before, and it doesn't break easily, surprisingly. So it's all right.
All right, for today, we got some news and notes. Okay. Dave leans heavy pitcher over hitter. So we got him here today to talk about drafting pitchers, drafting Ps now as in comparison to March. So we're going to let him run wild with that. And then Ben wanted to discuss some of these veteran hitters that have been around a long time, but their ADP shows no respect for them. And we're going to go through like 3, 4, 5 of these guys and find out if we're missing the ball here in 2020 on some of these vets that we've known for a while. Okay, let's get into some news and notes. The latest proposal of the union has pay cuts to the highest paid players. Max Scherzer immediately came out, and I'm just going to read this quote from Scherzer. There's no reason to engage with MLB. We have previously negotiated a pay cut. He took the hard line here, fellas.
Yeah, that's it doesn't bode well again. But I think, you have to. And is Boris's agent? I forget, but Boris came out with an email saying, basically telling all his players, don't give in. And so you had that kind of negotiating prowess behind you. That's the kind of rhetoric you're going to get if that's even if it's not his agent. Everybody everybody's seen the email and things like that. Again, there's a lot of money at stake, like Dave was saying. I mean, it's you're going to have so much of this, and I'm not sure how effective that is. Maybe it is effective putting it out there in the public. That's what I think we've had a lot of blowback on, is that the owners want everything to be they want everything to be transparent, and that may be a problem. So maybe it does help. I don't know, but it's deflating a little bit hearing stuff like that. So, No,
I agree. I'm right there with you. Like, I'm surprised that more players haven't come out and taken the stance. Like Blake Snell went, full on yelling about it, and Scherzer, and I think they should be out. I know Bauer has been pretty transparent that he's not happy with it too. And
Shocker.
And I don't fault those guys. They had an agreement before. I don't know what the books look like because they won't open them, right? None of us do. But I think if I was a player, I'd probably be complaining too that I deserve to get paid this, even if they agreed on a prorated amount.
Yeah, 100%. How can you not be upset if your employer currently comes to you and say, "Hey, we're going to cut 50%, 20%"? What? It doesn't matter. It's totally arbitrary number. If they're going to take some money from you, you're going to be hurt. It's just the human side of us, right? Really hoping they work things out for you, for me, for the fantasy world, for baseball. Just just cross fingers right now. We're gonna hear something soon, I think, on that. This might be some actual baseball news that's relevant to fantasy. The Tampa Bay Times reported about 5 days ago that Brendan McKay and Blake Snell have not been throwing off a mound. Now, contrary to that report, our friend on Twitter, Yancey Eaton, says that he's in contact rather regularly, buddy-ish, with Blake Snell. He says he's throwing. He's out there throwing. So this is very interesting. Is Blake Snell healthy? Like, we've gone into the season, we've done a lot of our drafts, wondering if this guy's healthy. I think when it comes down to it, it's easy to stay off of Brendan McKay at this point. But Blake Snell is one of the best pitchers, if not the best left-handed pitcher that we have in the game. Are you guys scared about this report, or does the help of Yancey Eaton give you some kind of faith that we'll have Blake Snell in 2020?
Yeah, I would go with Yancey. I like the fact that he put that out there. The way I build a team, I don't necessarily like risk that high in a draft. I think I can make it up rather than just taking a 0 if he does end up not pitching. And for me personally, I would just wait it out and let somebody else take that risk, especially because I play a lot of more high stakes NFBC leagues. So I'm not looking, home league, whatever, that's fine. But if I'm taking something of some worth, I'm probably going to wait and just take another pitcher, something else. That's just me personally.
Ben?
Yeah, I was off him from the start. I thought it was too high of an ADP for what some of the risk was. And so that doesn't really change anything for me, whether he's thrown or not, really. He's interesting character. I think he's got the ability to, be really, like you said, one of the better, higher upside left-handers we have to go after. I just don't know that it has the potential to be kind of a one-hit wonder too. If you look at some of the numbers. So
yeah, some people have written about that I know.
Yeah,
you could potentially be that. I'm right there with you. The stuff is there. I mean, he could be a Cy Young every year, right? If he could just maintain that health. So to me, it's a risk adversity.
Right, and if that's your style, you play with guys where that is their style, where they're going to take only really high upside, players, and sometimes the bottom falls out on people like that. It's a swing, literally a swing and a miss type of a scenario. More power to them. I have a little more, risk averse style, I think, as well.
I think we all do. I think we're all in agreement when it comes down to Blake Snell and ADP, where you're going to grab him and whatnot. The thing that I found interesting for Blake Snell, it is an elbow situation, right? It's an elbow injury. So everyone jumps to UCL Tommy John, but it's not actually the case with Blake Snell, okay? It's the outside of the elbow. This is deemed a tennis elbow, actually. It's got to do with the forearm and the ligament on the outside. So I was kind of hopeful that maybe the offseason he could come around. I'm kind of scared at this point. Whether or not that report is true or not, I'm still scared. I actually own 0 shares, but sadly, I love Blake Snell, okay? Because of that whiff rate that he has on this fastball and slider, it's just incredible. There's a ton of upside there, right? So I am disappointed, but it'll be interesting to see what happens, and hopefully we'll find out soon. Here's a little bit of positive news. Did you see this note on David Price? He is willing to pay each minor leaguer in the Dodgers system that he's never even met, mind you, a brand new team. He's offered them $1,000 to pay them each $1,000, which is twice as much as their own team was willing to pay them starting in June. So we're talking about tomorrow or the day after. I thought this was incredibly, just an incredible show of faith from David Price. I thought this was amazing. When so many teams are drawing back money and cutting back, David Price says, I can afford this. I got you. I loved it.
No, I love it too, right? Like, it's so so charitable of a thing that he's doing, right? And you would wish that the ownership would just take the same run from him and stuff like, I was thinking about when I first read, I'm like, I'm glad he doesn't own a team. Otherwise he would just take all that money for himself, which is what the owners have kind of been doing at the moment. They have been paying some of their people, but man, that's top notch of a thing for him to do. It really, really makes you think,
Yeah, wildly generous stuff there. And I mean, I don't know how long you can do that. Hopefully you don't have to do it for very long, but yeah, that's very cool. I mean, unprecedented gesture, really. I don't know that many players that have done that type of thing. Maybe there's more and you don't hear about it, but yeah, wow, to have that. How bummed are you if you're Boston's minor league?
If you just trade him away,
not to put a nasty twist on it, but it's just like, oh well, man, why'd you trade David Price?
We were homies. Seven. Dave, so as I referred to earlier, you do lean heavy pitcher. You're a pitcher guy as compared to the hitters. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right. We talked off air how drafting pitching has changed already for you since March. Go ahead and describe, what are we talking about? Do you have any drafts left? Let's start there.
Yeah. Well, whenever they do make some of these changes, if they come to agreement, I mean, if I've drafted maybe 15, 20 leagues already, I mean, I'll just jump in and go full on a whole bunch more. It just, a lot of those were all done like draft season part 1 where we don't know what happens, right? Then I was kind of drafting where maybe guys would be in all Arizona, some Florida. Who knows? This could be a whole new set of parameters. So I got to be drafting guys for that, way of going. And so it has changed, very dramatically for me. If I'm going to be drafting, I'll have some more drafts before it's done for sure.
That's awesome.
I hope we all do.
Yeah, you're right. I'm trying to be helpful, like we talked about. I'm trying to be helpful. I know I definitely have at least one more. I probably would like to jump in some NFC, some kind of LinkedIn. This is mine and Ben's first year in the TGFBI and the NFC formats, so we're kind of learning as we go.
Yeah, I know they're fun. It just depends on each style that you're playing or what you're more comfortable in. But yeah, it'll still be fun. It'll be more of a draft season. I know I have like dynasty leagues we haven't even started with yet.
Gotcha. So let's talk about some of the things, some of the changes that you're making as in comparison to March. How are you drafting pitchers in what we're talking about June? We're talking about drafting pitchers in June. It's crazy.
Sure. No, a little bit different for me. So if I believe that we're coming back, and some of the stuff I heard is a little different, for how we're going to start and how each one's going to be. So I'm just putting the assumption that we're going to have that universal DH. I'm going to put that assumption that we're going to have basically the 3 separate divisions, And so for me, the season's going to be short, right? Spring training is going to be a little bit brief. It's not going to be quite that wind up. So for me, I really want my starting pitchers to be vets. I kind of mentioned this on the Potapalooza that I don't really want to have, every game is now basically worth double. A win is very much more magnified. And so I want my pitchers to be more of a well-known commodity to me. I don't really want that wild card so much that I had before where, maybe I was reaching for a Zach Allen who could provide, go this way or that way, or that Jesus Luzardo. If that game is so much more important, I want a veteran, a guy that comes out there and, I'm bumping up the very early round starting pitchers so I can at least know what I'm getting. It's always going to, if they're only going to pitch 15 games or 20 games, I want to know exactly what I've got for that. A couple of guys that I'm really bumping up there, when I start talking about obviously the big time aces, those to me, I'm taking right away. I did a mock yesterday and I think I started pitcher. Just clear it, get it out of the way. Give me as much of that, well-known commodity as I can get. I know that the batters are important too, but I off the top of my head, I don't even remember who I had off of it, but I think it was DeGrom was the first one. But I'm taking guys like Kershaw, Morton, Scherzer, Greinke. Give me those much more older, veteran aces that I know can, it's like you lock it in. This is what you're getting. They don't need that extra time to, as much time to ramp up. They know what's happening in season. They know their bodies very much. So, the routine to them is I do this, I get my, I'm not throwing my fastball with enough ride. So I do this. Like, that's what I like about veteran pitchers. They might just have that little bit of an upper hand against the young guy who, if he struggles, they're just going to pull him out. I think they're going to give him some innings, but they're not going to leave these guys out there to just get wasted. I think
that's a great point. I have not really leaned that way in my thought process, but yeah, that's a great point. That those are the guys that know their routines, know how to make the adjustments because they've been doing it longer.
The shorter adjustment period is what I'm looking for.
Exactly. That's really interesting. You kind of think, well, it's a shortened season. The guys, the AJ Pucks and guys that we're going to have innings limits and things like that. It's like, well, yeah, just jump in there and grab them now. But that definitely puts a twist on it that I didn't really take into consideration. Because it depends on your style, I guess. A lot of, if you're a high risk person, you want to take that high ceiling pitcher, but you could really bottom out on those. The veterans are probably going to be a better, higher floor, obviously. Yeah.
I think everyone in the fantasy community jumped to Jesus Luzardo, AJ Puck, that Ben just mentioned, Julio Rios, those young guys, because everyone's like, let me get that value. But when we talked about this off air, I was like, he's absolutely right?
Yep.
I know I've been high on Mitch Keller. I know that's not the hottest take in the world, but suddenly I'm terrified of Mitch Keller.
That value is gone now.
It's gone, and who knows when he easily could blow up in the same manner that he did in 2019, and that will ruin your ratios going forward. Like one Mitch Keller bust game could, I don't want to say end your season. Certainly, you can't overcome it, but you're absolutely right. Me and Ben, I think, have doubled down on Lance Lynn a bunch this year, so we do like him going forward. But I really do like this take, actually, when so many people jumped on the Luzardo, the Zach Allens, and all of this. Dave, you're taking another direction. I think that's really smart, man.
Did we freeze up?
I think you might have froze up here. I'm going to go ahead and move forward, okay? We had an Apple Podcast review that just blew my mind. That just absolutely blew my mind, and I apologize. I'm just going to read it here right now. This came at a time, and this came at a time where it was like raining for 2 straight weeks here in Central Illinois. We've been on lockdown for like several months now. My 2-year-old.
In some.
I think we're losing. We might be losing Dave here. I'm not sure what's going on. I apologize, but I'm going to go ahead and read this. I want to very much thank Mike Mo 34 for this podcast review. It hit me at all the right times when I needed it. Okay. It says, great energy and growth from these two. You can tell they put in the work and have fun conveying that information in a witty and simple way. Both feed really well off each other, and Tony's unmatched enthusiasm for fantasy baseball sets him up as an excellent host. Been listening for some time now and excited to see what they have in store for 2020. A must-listen pod for when you need a break from the drone of baseball analytics. Like we kind of touched on this before. This is exactly what we were trying to do. Mike, thank you very much for that review. It hit me at a perfect time when I needed some of that.
All right. We got Dave back, or still a little choppy?
Seems a little choppy.
Yeah. I guess that the shameless plug, but yeah, very cool to have that kind of review, and that is nice to have the affirmation, I suppose, on the mixture of entertainment plus some information that might be valuable.
That's really nice.
Dave, are you there?
All right.
Yeah, we're experiencing some lag with Dave right now.
Can you kick it? Can you take him off and then bring him back in? Would that help?
I don't know.
No, those are. Yeah, can you guys hear me?
In bits and pieces.
Yeah, it's choppy right now, Dave. Hey, I'm gonna
jump out and jump back in.
Perfect.
Ben, let's you and I try to move on. Okay, this was your segment for sure, so I expect you to shine, just like that nose right now. Right? I named this segment, but why? But why? All right. We're talking about some veterans that have been around a long time. Okay, they had a poor 2019. Maybe a poor 2018, but we need to discuss why Matt Carpenter's ADP is 345. Joey Votto, 262. Jesus Aguiar, full-time gig for the Miami Marlins. What's he at? 336. Had an incredible 2018. And then you really wanted to touch on Jake Lamb, right?
Well,
I want to save Lamb for last.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll tell you how I got there, but Jake Lamb, for those that are listening, is an ongoing joke in our friends league, and everyone's like, "What's this?" So anyway, yeah, we'll get to him last, but yeah, you want to start or
Well, here. Let's start with Matt Carpenter. I know he's near and dear to your heart, and this is one of the guys you first brought up. Okay, his current ADP on NFC is 345. Okay, we're talking about a guy with a career 269, 372, 462 slash line. But in 2019, 226, 334, 392. Okay, we know he's an OBP guy. I found it interesting that a lot of these guys are actually OBP guys that we've lumped together today. Okay. But a career WRC plus of 129 in 2019, only 95. Like he's batting second for the St. Louis Cardinals. Okay. Why is his ADP 335? He has a starting gig, no?
You know, that'll be I think he definitely will to start off. He's and Dave now bringing up that veteran type of presence, able to make the adjustments quicker. Hopefully, now Matt, I don't know if it was an injury related thing or what, but he's getting up there in age, 34, 35, but he will have a starting gig to start with. He's getting paid to have a starting gig. I always say, follow the money. You're paying these guys. You want to see some kind of production out of them. So, and yeah, this is one near and dear to my heart. I want to see this one come back and make a difference for obvious reasons with the Cardinals. But looks like we're getting Dave back in here, hopefully. And of all these guys, I think he would be the one to really make the jump on now, because of his track record. You could get you may not get peak Matt Carpenter, but you'll get if average Matt Carpenter comes out, that's still pretty good, and you're getting the decent value at that ADP. So. I wanted this to be about guys. There's nothing in StatCast that backs any of this up. This is the gut feeling. The veteran bounce back. Joey Votto is another one. I don't know that he's other than OBP. What is he really? What's jumping out on StatCast? I don't think his WOBA is that great. I know Carpenter's wasn't. It was the year before. It was amazing, crazy good.
Well, that's the thing. I just threw up on the ticker there. Matt Carpenter's top 10% in all of it, MLB in ex-WOBA the last 4 out of 5 years. So he just absolutely tanked last year, and it feels like the fantasy community is just giving up on him.
They just gave up. Really, I suppose I did too. I'm one of those community players that are part of the community that's given up on him. I don't have any shares right now, but I am because one, a third base was a deep position anyway,
right?
And but this, I mean, if you're in a deep league and you need to plug somebody in, does he have first base, third base eligibility? I can't remember.
He might on Yahoo, but I don't know about that.
Yeah, either way. Good bounce back candidate. The Aguiar was kind of a one hit wonder, right? Who else? So I don't know. I don't know that I would really take the leap on him. And third base and first base, I think you have it's a really deep position. Who was the other one? Oh, Votto. Votto's always been kind of a disappointment, I feel like, for whatever reason. But he's had some good WOBA numbers in the past as well. And he's got a track record. He's going to play.
The thing with Joey Votto that stands out, okay, we know that he's always been, you can always count on him for a batting average. The power has come and gone. We don't really understand what he's doing there. But some of the StatCast stuff absolutely falls in line. It is legit. His expected batting average, his expected slug, WOBA, ex-WOBA, all legit. It was all there, okay? So I don't know what happened. The one thing with Joey Votto, the barrels are down to like 6.7 and 6.9% the last 2 years. Now, this is something that we know is sticky. The barrels are sticky, but he's not getting it done.
Not squaring the ball up.
He's not squaring the ball up, and he's not squaring the breakers, the off-speed stuff. Nearly a 30% whiff rate with breakers and off-speed. So he can still mash the fastball, but he's struggling elsewhere.
Yeah, there has been a bit of a decline ongoing for him. Carpenter's really came out of the blue in 2x4 to the head type of way last year. And to be fair, the year before, the final numbers looked great, but that was like 2 or 3 months where he went off crazily and then really didn't do really pretty much hurt your team almost. The rest of the way. So
a poor April, a poor September, but everything in the middle was like white hot.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Yeah, crazy. Do I hit it up with the Jake Lamb? Here's how I came to Jake Lamb, and he sent a tweet and said that you can't find. So on Fangraphs,
I found it.
I was going through second half, like who was really squaring it up in the second half, and hard hit percentage. I go there. I think a lot of people use that. You have to get off the qualified. So I went down to 150 at bats. The top, so hard hit percentage leaders with 150 at bats in the second half last year. So you're really kind of small sample size, but you have Aaron Judge at the top with 56%. Number 3 is Miguel Sano, 54%. Jorge Soler is number 6 at 51%. Bryce Harper's up there at 50%. Number 9. Then you have some interesting names. Number 2 is Jake Lamb.
53%.
56.1.
Okay.
And his BABIP was 216, which screams a little bit of unluckiness. Now he's slow of foot, so that probably plays into it. But it's just interesting. The problem with him is he is getting crowded out. I don't know that he'll have a starting gig. He's going to have to produce. It's just an interesting name. It struck me funny because of the Jake effing Lamb. I actually drafted him one year, and his greatest season ever to date, and it paid off. The guy can hit. He cannot hit lefties, so this would be like a platoon guy even. And you could throw Carpenter in that bucket as well. I feel like he is doesn't hit lefties well either. And but I'm okay having a guy like that, he's facing a righty one day. Got him on your bench. You got, could pay off. But I thought, he's in good company in a small sample size from the second half.
Right. That is a credible group there of hard hit guys. You said 56%. See, I didn't nail it down to 150 PAs. I just hit the second half. I did see that he had 53% hard hit in 2019. I knew there wasn't that many PAs, but that is interesting. I think this guy is going largely undrafted for all the reasons you said. Yeah. But, he is also a career 11.8 walk percentage guy. This guy does find a way to get on base, mashes. Again, all of these guys seem to be quality on base guys, right? I was surprised to see this group be quality OBP guys. All right.
Right. Which usually is a quality that you have more of a consistent profile, I feel like, or a better chance. The guys that are just swinging at everything, I think you have a harder time taking out some of the volatility. You could have a really good year and then other, it could bottom out.
Right.
That being said, these guys have bottomed out as well. But that was my thesis on Abigio as well over Gleyber Torres at that ADP is a caveat. But I want somebody who's going to get on base and if the hitting drops off for a while, at least you're still getting on. Maybe you get some runs that way and some worthwhile, some beneficial stats.
Right. Let's jump back. Okay. You jumped into, hey, Dave, do we got you there? Davithius, do we got you back? Oh, it's still a little slow.
Yeah, we're not.
Still got some lag. But we skipped over Daniel Murphy in Colorado.
Yeah.
Now, Ben,
yes,
I
sir,
know.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay. That I heard.
We're still lagging.
Yeah, we still got some lag on you, man. I apologize. Let's move on to Daniel Murphy. Okay, we know this guy can hit. Now, I know this isn't your favorite player in the world, Ben, his sort of player profile, but this guy has a career 298, 343, 458 career. All right.
No worries. Go ahead.
His career low K percentage came in 2019 at 15.5. Career low K percentage, 15.5. We're talking about this guy off the map with a career low K percentage at 15.5. This is still elite. He can still handle the stick in Colorado. We know the injury happened literally the second week, third week. I don't believe it was ever diagnosed as a fractured thumb. Okay. But he definitely got squared up on the thumb. He, whatever power he did have, he lacked mightily the rest of the way for the Rockies. His ADP is currently at 245, so there are some people onto this a little bit. Ben, why don't you like Daniel Murphy in 2020?
Well, that position is deep. Is he first base only? What are we talking about here? Or is he second?
I believe he's first base only this year.
First base only this year, yeah. So that position is pretty deep. That's why I probably don't like him. And no power. But the other than steals, average is probably the toughest thing to get. I mean, you're like you said, the K rate, you're basically cutting in half the league average these days. It seems like everybody strikes out a third of the time. I'm exaggerating a little bit there, but so yeah, he's another great example. I'm not onto him. Maybe I should be. You are not getting here's another thing. You're not getting the Colorado effect. So, right?
Why not?
Well, is one of the scenarios on the table still they're going to be playing down south?
No, I don't believe so. I haven't heard that lately. Right. Okay. It's going to be the three divisions, the West Coast, the Central, and the East. So ideally, he will be in Colorado.
Okay. Well, then you're hoping for some power comeback numbers there. You're not getting it's first base. Doesn't matter really on the steals front, but yeah, that's another good. It's not that I don't like him. I just think there's a lot better options, but definitely these are all guys really you're just putting on your watch list, right? If something happens, if something blows up on you, take a flyer on one of these guys. Basically, is what I thought was interesting. Where, and I didn't take time to look at Daniel Murphy's StatCast numbers either this morning before I dragged my scraggly butt out of bed, but there's just guys out there that for whatever, like what happened. I tend to think so Murphy had his thumb issue. Carpenter's always had a back issue. There's probably something going on there. There's too much of a drop to go, well, yeah, this was coming. It really came out of nowhere for some of these guys. So put on your watch list, take a flyer on them if you have to.
Yeah, I would be willing. I haven't, okay, but I would be willing to take that risk. Go ahead and in your deep leagues, go ahead and draft Matt Carpenter, Daniel Murphy. I do like them both to bounce back in some manner. Okay, I got up on the board now. Daniel Murphy's Z contact percentage in 2019.
Age.
They are old. They're definitely old. But in 2019, Daniel Murphy's Z contact was 94.2. His career was 94.5. Okay, so he's still making contact at the same rate that he was his entire career. I do think when that thumb got whacked early in the season, it just zapped any chance at power. We know he's not the powerful guy anyways, but it definitely zapped it right there. Okay, so I do like Murphy to bounce back, and I do think Carpenter absolutely can too.
Yeah, it's a possibility for all those guys. Like I said, it's not something I'm putting out there to say, reach for them in a draft or anything like that. But yeah, definitely have them on your watch list and grab them if something happens. Hopefully we can get Dave. I'd like to get Dave's take on pitchers that maybe fall into that category because I need a Syndergaard replacement.
Well, look, it does look like he's froze up. I do apologize to Dave. I want you guys to reach out and follow Dave. That's at Davithius on Twitter. Okay, DAVITHIUS. Like I said, Dave is an incredibly nice follow. He finds the good work and he just supports it. Okay, he retweets a ton of great work that's out there. He's just very kind. Thank you, Dave, for being here. I apologize for the lag and whatever happened there. I'm not sure what happened. Ben, go ahead.
No, that was just that was awesome. That's probably the highlight of the show so far. Having Dave on here. Rotoballer is there's a ton of if people are starting out there's a ton of information to get. You can get on a rabbit hole there. They do a lot of good work, and like I said, I was saying earlier, before I even knew Fangraphs existed, that's how I think I found out about Fangraphs. I was reading some of the articles to try and get the fantasy edge over you guys and some other players, and they were utilizing that site a long time ago and done well with it. Now, then, as you grow as a fantasy player, then you're finding out, well, yeah, what's this? What's that? And you go on there and do different things and kind of piece together a strategy. Like we have our own personal processes, develop a process and tweak it, and you'll end up, it's about improving your odds of success. You get probabilities in your favor. Well, you do that through some of these stats. So yeah, we may reference them anecdotally, but it's also up to the viewer or the listener to go out there and kind of dig in, get your hands dirty a little bit and do that. It's going to help you out.
So that's really all we had for today. I wanted to thank Dave again for being here. As we said, reach out to him at Davithius on Twitter. Good luck going forward, Dave, at Rotoballer, and then the new site, the new group at Rotofanatic. That'll be a lot of fun. Great guys there all around. That's very exciting. And on that note, we also have more guests coming up in the future. Okay. We've had a lot of fun with this, with Dave being here. Thanks again. Next up, we have one of the heavy hitters in the community. I'm going to correct. Dave corrected me in this pod. I'm going to use community. I'm losing industry. I'm letting it go.
Right. Yeah. I am going to do that too. I like that. That's a great way to put it. It is a community.
If we learned nothing, then we learned that today. Okay.
Yeah. Dave was a good thing. That I'm super grateful for having Dave on here. That was really, didn't have to do that. That was awesome.
Next up, we do have Toby from Bat Flip Crazy coming on to school me and Ben. So when we talk about being deer in headlights on Potapalooza around some absolute studs in the community, we're bringing him on. We're bringing another one in. He's one of the very much humble guys in the community. I like Toby a lot. I listen to Bat Flip and Bubba. That's a great podcast. Those guys have been around for a while. I'm very excited to announce he'll be on our next show. So we're looking forward to that. Follow us on YouTube and Twitter at Open Bar Dudes, and then at Open Bar Ben. Thanks for listening as always. Ben, do you have anything? Sign off?
No, man. This was awesome. Thanks to Dave again. Good talk. I wish I had time to get my I'm so dehydrated. I don't even think coffee would be a good idea anyway. This might be the last morning show.
Breakfast with Ben. We're retiring Breakfast with Ben before it even gets started.
Well, let's try it again. I'm never drinking again. So maybe the next one will be okay. No, man, this was fun. Awesome.
This was a lot of fun. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, fellas. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening.
Later.